Peace, family. It's your brother Marc Lamont Hill. Apologize for that little tech thing. I hit the wrong button. It's so good to see everybody here tonight on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. And apparently, it is the 1 year anniversary of the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, which is extra dope. And so I'm excited to be here with you all, and I'm excited to be in conversation with you all, although obviously for reasons that are very tragic and sad, and that is the war on Gaza report. Every night, we attempt to cover some piece of the Israeli Palestinian issue. In particular, we've been trying to cover for the last year Israel's genocidal war in Gaza, and tonight is no different. We want to cover it, and we do it because we want mainstream media outlets to be more accountable. We want corporate channels to be more accountable, and by showing you what they refuse to show, by giving you the insights and the information that they refuse to provide, we hope to change the narrative, and if not change the narrative, at least provide an alternative space to understand what's going on in Israel and Palestine, particularly with regard to the plight and the liberation of the Palestinian people. And so we're excited to be here, although again, under very tragic circumstances, as we reach day 381. That's right. Israel's war on Gaza has reached day 381. And we begin, as we always do, with the numbers. As of today, at least 42,603 people have been killed. Again, 42,603 people have been killed, as well as 99,795 people who have been wounded. One more time, 42,603 people killed, 99,795 people wounded in Israeli attacks since October 7th, 2023, inside the Gaza Strip. Of course, we know that there was an estimated 1,139 people who were killed in Israel during the Hamas-led attacks on October 7th, along with more than 200 people who were kidnapped. This is where we are, more than 1 year later. Whatever you think of October 7th, 1,139 deaths in Israel, which in my estimation is an awful tragedy, has resulted in more than 40,000 deaths in Gaza. Not to mention the fact that in addition to the 40+ thousand people who are dead, according to the Gaza Health Ministry, we continue to see people under the rubble, tens of thousands. We continue to see people whose death is caused by the destruction of Gaza. According to the Lancet study, that could take us to hundreds of thousands of people. We are witnessing a full-scale genocide post-October 7th. And in some ways, October 7th is a pretext, and in some ways it's not. I mean, what happened on October 7th certainly changed the status quo. It intensified the Israeli siege. It intensified the Israeli blockade. It intensified the ethnic cleansing. It intensified the indiscriminate attacks. It intensified the war crimes. So I don't want to pretend that history started on October 7th. No, these things were pre-existing, but there's also a way that even the pretexts of safety and security are gone. The pretext of proportionate force. The Israeli government doesn't even pretend to do roof knocking or other types of sort of preventative measures. They don't pretend to be, they do purport themselves still to be the world's most moral army, but they don't pretend to do the actions that would substantiate such a ridiculous claim, such an absurd claim. So against the backdrop of all of that, we're witnessing something quite tragic. And the tragedy continues. You know, people often think about the rubble as being just, you know, the initial destruction of Gaza in the first month or so. But as of today, Israeli forces have prevented rescue teams from reaching Palestinians who are trapped under the rubble in the northern region of Gaza. People are describing the northern region of Gaza as a terror, as a living terror. That's, you know, these scenes of terror are quite unprecedented, even for what we've seen in Gaza for the last year. In the last 17 days, 640 Palestinians in northern Gaza have now been killed. 33 people have been killed just since dawn of today. And here in the United States, it's still Monday. So since dawn of today, 33 people have already been killed. Uh, we've never seen such a clear case of genocide, even in Gaza. And we've been seeing genocide for a year. But when you see 640 Palestinians in northern Gaza killed in this particular way, it's it's stunning, right? The occupation army is forcing residents of northern Gaza to either flee under the bombardment or face killing in what resembles a circle of certain death. That is not from me, that is from the Palestinian Authority's foreign ministry. That's a quote. They said genocide is unfolding in northern Gaza in its clearest form in full view of the war. And they added that the failure of the international community to stop this is, quote, war of extermination. And it has emboldened Israel to continue its deadly campaign. We've seen reporting from other people, including my colleagues at Al Jazeera, where I'm getting this report from. They're in Deir el-Belah, which is in central Gaza, in Taris Abu Azm, said civilians in northern Gaza are trapped in their houses amid a mass blackout. So we're seeing blackout. We're seeing food gone, water gone, medicine gone. And against the backdrop of those kinds of forms of deprivation, we're seeing really a kind of human atrocity in northern Gaza that we haven't seen before. People can't access the bodies. Rescue workers have tried to get people. They've gotten some, but certainly not enough. We've seen the hospitals destroyed. We've seen people who were just filling water containers in several regions like Beit Lahia get killed just for doing that. I mean, we're seeing extraordinary suffering, extraordinary misery here. Northern Gaza is a mess. Northern Gaza is a destruction zone. And I concur that as long as the international community fails to be outraged by this, fails to speak out against this, there's just not much else to say or do. It's not just, there just isn't. There just isn't. The head of the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, says that Israel is, quote, weaponizing aid by blocking UN workers from reaching besieged areas. Again, this is a critical area that we have to talk about. Israel continues to say that they're allowing aid in when the reports on the ground continue to demonstrate that they're not. Israel continues to say that they are providing, that they're following, the mandate to provide for refugees. They are not. They're weaponizing aid. They are blocking aid, and where people get aid, they're also killing people. People have been killed in various moments of this struggle over the last year while accessing aid. People filling water containers. People trying to stand in line at various what do you call turnarounds? What do you call them? Roundabouts. Duad is the word in Arabic. Just standing there, like the Kuwaiti roundabout, for example, where people were shot like birds just for waiting. Tragic again. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Israel's attack on Lebanon as well. An Israeli attack near Rafik Hariri Hospital in Beirut has killed 4 people, including a child. It's also wounded 32 more people. That's all according to Lebanon's Ministry of Health. I guess now people say, well, you can't trust the Lebanese Ministry of Health. Whose Ministry of Health can we trust? Because all these people keep reporting death, and all I keep hearing is it ain't true. But all the evidence shows quite the opposite. Anyway, the UN's Sexual and Reproductive Health Agency, UNFPA, says that a shelter for women and girls was destroyed in attacks on the southern suburbs of Beirut on Sunday night, last night. The space was a home away from home that, quote unquote, changed the lives of dozens of women and girls escaping gender-based violence, the agency said in a post on social media. It was run by the Amal Association, or I guess the Amal Association, not the Amal Association, the Hope Association, not the Work Association. Beirut has come under repeated Israeli bombardment in recent days, including at least 12 Israeli missiles that hit its southern suburbs on Sunday night. The violence is stunning. We talked just a moment ago about Rafiki Hospital. Some new information has just come in as I'm sitting here. 32 people were injured in the attack, up from a preliminary total of 24. Initially, we said 4 people were killed in the Israeli attack, including a child. But now I wanted to give you an update on those wounded numbers. Also, Lebanon's national airline had to switch landing strips on Monday due to Israel's attacks near the main runway at Beirut International Airport. Middle East Airlines switched the runway it was using because the main runway is close to the site of the Uzai strike. So we're seeing extraordinary violence, extraordinary danger in all dimensions of the public sphere in Lebanon, and Beirut seems to be a key target. Yeah, we'll talk more about that later, but I wanted to give you all just a quick update on what's going on in the region, a quick update on what's going on in the area. As you can hear, my voice isn't here. I'm not feeling great, but I wanted to at least give you that update, especially on the 1-year anniversary of the channel. Everybody hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the join button. And if you're so inclined, feel free to make a donation, especially on our first, or rather on our 1-year anniversary. You can go to Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle to do the War on Gaza report. It requires a great deal of time and energy and effort and fact collecting and sorting. And any support you could offer will be greatly appreciated. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. We're asking tonight that if everybody who's watching gives $10, we can meet our financial goals for the month. So consider it. But no amount is too big, no amount is too small. Until tomorrow, I will see you. Peace.